Hi, it's Sophie. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be talking about my interview with Princeton, how it went, the questions I was asked, what I asked my interviewer, and just a little bit of background information on the interview itself. So I just do this before every video about an interview. So I'm homeschooled. I live in Mississippi, and I didn't apply test optional to Princeton, but I applied as a classics major, and that's just a little bit of background information. I wanted to match through the Questbridge National College match with Princeton. I was a finalist, but did not match. So I applied regular decision, and I'm waiting to hear back. And I'm filming all these interview videos before IB Day tomorrow, so I don't have any biased opinion. But anyway, so today it's March 30th, and back in late February, I think around the 20th, I was emailed by a local alumna. She had graduated from Princeton back in the early 2000s, and so we scheduled an interview, like what most people do. And the interview itself, it lasted, I think, about 30 minutes. Overall, it was like 30 minutes, almost to like the second. My other interviews lasted really long, but it was Princeton and UPenn who both had those are the ones I had really short interviews with. So I was a little bit worried, but the interview itself felt like I was just kind of getting information about Princeton from my interviewer. So I didn't feel like a super, not weighted, but I didn't feel like there was much weight in this interview. All she asked me was, tell me a little bit about yourself. So she introduced herself, and she told me about her experience while she was at Princeton, how much she loved it, a few other stories, and then she was like, I don't know much about you, tell me a little bit about yourself. So she, had that whole thing prepared. And then she asked me to elaborate on my work as a Senate aide in Baton Rouge. She's like, I went over it briefly, but then she was like, okay, will you tell me a little bit more about it? And so, I did. And then all she asked me, the final question was, why Princeton? And, I had an answer for that, but she didn't ask me many questions. But I would ask her more questions. Like I asked her all about what made you want to apply to Princeton. She's from the same small town I'm from in Mississippi, and she was really helpful. She was able to tell me how many there are many people from my small town who have attended Princeton, and how there's really a strong network. I had no idea. And so she was just really encouraging and really kind. And maybe your interviewer with Princeton, maybe they might be kind of harsh. They might be. I've heard that a few of my friends have had, friends, they're online, but they talk about it. They've had interviews with Princeton where the interviewer would ask an ugly question or say something in a kind of a hostile way. But I think that no matter how they phrase the question, the interview does not mean that much with Princeton. I mean, I haven't been rejected yet or accepted. That's tomorrow. I'm ready for that rejection. But the interview didn't feel like it meant very much. And even if you look in the history of Princeton and all about their interview history and what people have experienced, just historically, it doesn't mean that much with Princeton, at least from that's what I got from it. But she only asked me like 3 or 4 questions, so there wasn't much going on. Oh, she did ask me what my major, what I wanted to major in, and what encouraged me to pursue that major. And so what I would tell someone who had an interview coming up with Princeton, I would say prepare, but don't get too nervous. I really wasn't too nervous. I got kind of nervous and would talk really quickly throughout my interview, and I was like, chill out, Sophie, it's not that big of a deal. But prepare by just going over basic interview questions, like why Princeton, just know a little bit about why Princeton and what you want to major in. And that's something you probably already do know if you are applying. I also wanted to mention, my interviewer and I didn't have too much in common other than we were from the same small town, and she had attended a high school that was right a block away from where I live. But she was pursuing totally different, a different major. She was into different extracurriculars, and she was a cheerleader, and that's so not me, but we were still able to have a nice connection and just a friendly back and forth conversation in this interview. So I think it did go over pretty well, but like I said, I don't think it means too much. I don't think it is heavily weighed in the admissions process, but we'll see. I'll give an update sometime when I know what's happening.